My marriage was a lie. Here's how I found out. You ever get that feeling? That moment when your gut tells you something is off, but you push it aside because you don't want to believe it? Yeah, I ignored mine too. It started on a Thursday. A normal damn Thursday. I was at work, sitting at my desk, staring at the same spreadsheets I looked at every single day, counting down the minutes until I could go home. My phone buzzed. It wasn't a big deal at first. Just a text from my wife, Melissa. But then I saw the name above it, Daniel. Now here's the thing, you ever notice how sometimes your brain processes something before you even really see it? Like, before I even unlocked my phone, before I even read the message, my heart was already racing. Because I didn't know a Daniel. Not one Melissa would be texting, anyway. And that's when I made the biggest mistake of my life. I opened it. Last night was amazing. Can't stop thinking about you. Boom. Just like that, my entire world tilted. I remember blinking at the screen, my hands going cold, my heartbeat thudding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My brain tried to make sense of it. There had to be an explanation. A joke? A wrong number? Maybe it was some stupid inside thing with one of her girlfriends. I swallowed hard and scrolled up. Nope. There were more messages. A lot more. And none of them were things I wanted to see. I sat there, reading messages that didn't belong to me. Messages full of laughs, whispers, confessions, things she had no problem telling Daniel, but never told me anymore. Things like how she missed him, how she couldn't wait to see him again, how she loved the way. I locked my phone and threw it on my desk. For a few minutes, I just sat there, staring at my monitor, watching the spreadsheet blur into nothing. My coworkers buzzed around me like it was just another Thursday, like my life hadn't just caved in on itself. And then somehow I stood up, walked to the bathroom, locked myself in a stall. And that's when I finally let it hit me. Melissa, my wife, was cheating on me. The woman I married. The woman I built a life with. The woman who once looked me in the eyes and promised me forever. I felt sick. But here's the crazy thing. I wasn't even thinking about leaving yet. Not at first. No, my brain went somewhere else entirely. Because right then, I only had one thought. Who the hell is Daniel? And how long had he been screwing my wife? I wish I could say I stormed out of work that second, drove home, and confronted Melissa right then and there. That I flipped the whole damn house upside down, demanded answers, made her feel as sick as I did. But I didn't. Instead, I did what any man with a shattered heart and a phone full of damning messages would do. I waited. I had to be smart about this. So I sat in that bathroom stall, fists clenched, taking slow, deep breaths while my mind spun 100 miles an hour. The rage was there, burning hot under my skin. But so was something else. Something cold. Calculated. I needed more. More proof. More information. I unlocked my phone and scrolled. Their messages went back months. Maybe longer. I only got far enough before my stomach started twisting. But it was clear this wasn't new. Melissa had been sleeping with Daniel for a long time. That thought alone was enough to make me grip my phone so hard my knuckles turned white. And then I found the first clue. A reservation confirmation for some fancy steakhouse. A place she and I had never been to together. And the date? Last Friday. I remember that night clear as day. Melissa had told me she was going out with her coworkers. She came home late, smelling like wine, kissing me on the cheek, telling me how exhausted she was. And like an absolute idiot, I just smiled and said, "Get some rest, babe." I could almost hear her laughing at me. I swallowed the lump in my throat and kept scrolling. That's when I hit the pictures. And let me tell you, if you ever find yourself in my situation, don't look at the pictures. Just don't. But of course I did. And what I saw, well, I'll spare you the details. Let's just say they weren't just having dinner. By the time I forced myself to stop, my hands were shaking. My whole body felt like it was on fire. I needed to see her, talk to her, catch her in her lies. But I wasn't going to just scream at her like some crazy husband. No, Melissa had played this game too well for too long. If I wanted to win, I had to be smarter. So I played dumb. I walked out of that bathroom, sat back at my desk, and pretended nothing had happened. I finished my shift, drove home like it was just another day, and kissed my wife on the forehead like I always did. I even asked her, "How was work?" And you know what she did? She smiled, looked me right in the eyes, lied to my face, told me it was a boring day. I almost laughed, because I already knew Melissa hadn't gone to work at all. I checked her location history before I walked through the door. And guess where she'd been all afternoon? A hotel. That night, I barely slept. I lay next to Melissa, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of her breathing. Every now and then, she shifted, rolling over, tucking herself closer to me like she always did. Like she wasn't sneaking off to hotels in the middle of the day. Like she wasn't giving herself to another man. I could have confronted her right then. Could have shaken her awake, shoved the phone in her face, demanded the truth. But no, that would have been too easy for her. She didn't deserve easy. I wanted to watch her squirm. So the next morning, I woke up early, made coffee, and kissed her goodbye like any loving husband would. I went to work like nothing was wrong. But the second I sat at my desk, I called in sick. Then I got to work. Melissa thought she was smart, thought she had covered her tracks. But people like her always make mistakes, and I was going to find them all. First, I checked our shared phone plan. Most people don't realize how much information those logs hold. Every call, every text, and every number. Daniel's number popped up a lot. And not just in the past few months. His calls and messages went back over a year. A whole damn year. I copied the number and ran it through every search I could think of. Social media databases, even some sketchy people finder sites. And within an hour, I had a full name. Daniel Carter. His LinkedIn popped up first, some corporate drone at an insurance company across town. Mid-40s. Married. 2 kids. Oh, this just got interesting. I dug deeper. Found his address. His wife's Facebook. Even pictures of his kids. This man wasn't just some random fling. He had a whole life he was putting at risk. And suddenly, an idea started forming in my head. A slow, dangerous idea. But first, I needed proof. The kind that couldn't be denied. So I set the trap. That afternoon, I drove back home and parked 2 blocks away. Melissa thought I was still at work. Thought she had all the time in the world. She had no idea I was watching. At exactly 12:30 p.m., I saw her car pull into the driveway. And not even 10 minutes later, another car rolled up. Black Audi. Tinted windows. I already knew who it was. Daniel. I gripped my phone and started recording. Watched as he stepped out, glancing around like a damn criminal. Watched as my wife opened the door for him, smiling, letting him inside, like she had done 100 times before. I should have felt pain, should have felt heartbreak, but all I felt was cold, calculated rage. I had everything I needed, but I wasn't done yet, because now it was time to destroy them both. I sat in my car, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. Melissa and Daniel were inside, doing God knows what in my house. The home I paid for. The home where we shared anniversaries, lazy Sundays, and whispered late-night conversations. And now it was a place for their filth. But I wasn't going to kick the door down like some maniac. No. That would be too easy. I had something better planned. I tapped my phone and sent a text to Daniel's wife. "Hey, Lisa, I think we need to talk." She responded almost instantly. "Who is this?" "My name is Steven. I'm Melissa's husband." "Melissa, wait. What's this about?" "I need you to check your husband's location. Right now." 3 dots appeared, then stopped, then started again. A minute later. What the hell is going on? His phone says he's at some random house. Not random. Mine. I attached the video. The one where Daniel so casually stepped out of his car, walked up to my front door, walked inside, like he belonged there. Lisa didn't respond for a solid 2 minutes. Then, "I'm on my way." Perfect. I stepped out my car and made my way to the front door. Quietly, carefully, I placed my hand on the doorknob, took a deep breath, and turned it. Unlocked. Of course it was. I pushed it open and stepped inside. I didn't even have to go looking. They were in the living room. On my damn couch. Melissa was straddling him, lips on his neck, her shirt halfway unbuttoned. The sound of the door closing made them freeze. Melissa turned her head first, and I'll never forget the way her face dropped. It was like watching all the color drain from her body at once. Oh my God. Daniel shoved her off him, scrambling to his feet like a panicked animal. This isn't what it looks like, he stammered. I actually laughed. You serious, man? I gestured to his unzipped pants. You want to try that again? Melissa wrapped her arms around herself, shaking. Baby, I held up my hand. Save it. She closed her mouth. Good. She knew she had lost. I turned to Daniel. You should probably leave. One bang. The front door flew open so hard it slammed into the wall. Lisa. Her eyes locked onto her husband, and if looks could kill, Daniel would have dropped dead on the spot. I stepped aside and gestured toward him. All yours. Daniel turned white as a sheet. Lisa, wait. Smack. Lisa's palm cracked across his face so hard I swear I felt the impact. How dare you, she hissed. In his house? With her. Melissa flinched, stepping back, eyes darting between Lisa and me. This is a misunderstanding. Lisa whirled on her. Oh, shut the hell up, you home-wrecking tramp. I folded my arms and leaned against the wall, watching the carnage unfold. It was beautiful. Lisa shredded Daniel with words, telling him he was a pathetic excuse for a husband, a father, and a man. She promised to take everything in the divorce. The house, the car, full custody of the kids. Melissa started crying, but I had no sympathy. When it was over, Daniel stumbled out of the house like a beaten dog. Lisa stormed after him, promising that he'd regret this for the rest of his life. And then it was just me and Melissa. Silence. I finally looked at her. Really looked at her. The woman I once loved. The woman who vowed to love me. And I felt a nothing. I pulled my wedding ring off and tossed it on the coffee table. We're done, I said. Melissa sobbed. Baby, please, I can expla. I turned and walked out. And let me tell you, I've never felt lighter in my life.